So I said, wait a minute. You're measuring attention, you're measuring emotion, you're measuring memory. 1 hour ago, my friend at Coca-Cola said, does anybody pay attention to my commercials? Is anybody emotionally engaged with my products and my brands? Does anybody remember what we told them? The very same things my friend was saying he was spending a couple of billion and wondering if it happened, you're actually measuring in clinics. Why can I not apply this science to solve that problem?
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen, and I am your host. Today, we have a very special guest, Dr. A.K. Pradeep, who is the founder and CEO of Sensor.Ai, which is one of the world's leading experts on applied neuroscience and artificial intelligence. He's a highly successful serial entrepreneur, having founded NeuroFocus, which was acquired by Nielsen, as well as BoardVantage, acquired by Nielsen as well. Dr. Pradeep has over 90 patents and has written 4 books: The Buying Brain, AI for Marketing and Product Innovation, Governance, 6 Easy Pieces, and Neuro AI, How to Win the Minds of Consumers using Neuroscience-Powered Gen AI. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Pradeep.
Thank you, Alan. A pleasure to be here.
Yes, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm really excited to talk to you today. We're really going to be diving deep, particularly in the topic of transforming consumer innovation and how to unlock hidden powers of the non-conscious mind, which I think is a really interesting topic. And I'm really excited to kind of get into that because I've always heard, as being in business for as long as I've been in business, about all of the psychological aspects that make people want to purchase a particular item. There's really a lot that goes into it. I mean, it really is a science, and I know you're really an expert on the subject, and so you have really had a fascinating career. Looking back at your neuroscience, the AI, your entrepreneurship, and I just really am curious what really got you interested in how the brain influences consumer behavior. Was it like some type of light bulb moment that got you on the path?
I would like to think that, but it's actually a wine spill moment, right?
Okay.
So you say, my God, what is a wine spill moment? It seems to be accessible to everybody. So
Right.
I was at Coca-Cola talking to a senior executive there long ago.
Okay.
And as I was heading out, he said, you know what, Pradeep? I spend a couple of billion on direct marketing expense, a couple of billion on trade spend, and I really don't know what I get for it, right? Is it effective? Is it delivering what I want? I really don't know. Do you think there's a way to find out? I said, my God, that's an existential question. It's like asking, what's the meaning of life? Is there love? And
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. So I said, I really don't know. Let me think about it. So I was on
Mhm.
the plane from Atlanta to San Francisco, and I was sitting next to somebody, and I ended up spilling wine on them, right? So I said, my apologies, and chit chatted. And I said, what do you do for a living? And the guy said, oh, I'm a neuroscientist. I said, what does a neuroscientist do?
Mhm.
He said, it's very simple. I, help people with attention deficit disorders. I measure attention and help them with how they maintain focus and attention. I measure emotion and I help people with emotional issues, manias, phobias, and things like that. Then I measure memory and help people with memory issues, dementia, Alzheimer's, and things like that, where people are
Mhm.
losing a little bit of their memory.
Right.
So I said, wait a minute, you're measuring attention, you're measuring emotion, you're measuring memory. 1 hour ago, my friend at Coca Cola said, does anybody pay attention to my commercials? Is anybody emotionally engaged with my products and my brands? Does anybody remember what we told them? The very same things my friend was saying he was spending a couple of billion and wondering if it happened, you're actually measuring in clinics. Why
Mhm.
can I not apply this science to solve that problem? So I landed in San Francisco and I called my friend up and I said, listen, I may have an interesting approach to answering the question you posed to me when I left your office using neuroscience. I don't know if it's going to work. So, what I want you to do, I want you to send me 3 commercials. One of them that did really, really well for you in terms of people getting it and you getting some money from launching the commercial.
Right.
One that you thought should do well but never did anything. And one in the middle, right?
Mhm.
And I said, don't tell me which one is which. I'm going to use this neuroscience and try to sort it out and see if I can come up with the right answer. If I come up with the right answer, you'll call it a project and give me $50,000. If my answers are incorrect, we'll just chalk it up to life's learnings. Nobody pays anybody anything.
Mhm.
So my friend said, pretty deal, but don't really tell procurement about it. All right, we'll just make it happen. so,
Right.
so I went ahead and I measured the brains of people. I got them in San Francisco through Craigslist, and I put an ad out, got the equipment, measured it using denser AEG. And then I went back to my buddy and I said, hey, this is the good one. This is the bad one. This is the one in the middle.
Mhm.
And my friend said, Pradeep, your answers are correct. You would be stupid if you didn't start a company. So I started a company that later became NeuroFocus and I sold it to Nielsen. And by the way, BoardVantage was sold to Nasdaq, the prior company, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
So what I did, I measured brains of people as they reacted to advertising, marketing, messaging around the world to find out what seduces, persuades the human mind. So that was my beginning of the adventure in neuroscience. I got some of the world's topmost minds in neuroscience, Professor Bob Knight at Berkeley, Earl Miller at MIT, Kostlin at Harvard, and a whole bunch of unbelievable minds,
Mhm.
including Eric Kandel, who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in Human Memory. They all joined together to help create this incredible thing. And in the process, by measuring people's brains directly, I found out a list of things of what works and what doesn't work, what persuades people, what motivates them to act, not just now, but right now, right? In the world of e commerce that you live in, Alan, right? When people look through a promotion or a site or an ad, if they don't act right then and there, the chances of them acting on it are close to zero.
Mhm.
You literally have milliseconds to persuade them. In those
Right.
milliseconds, if you write a long sentence, the seconds are gone, right? They move on to the next thing. So the question is, the non conscious mind makes 95% of people's decisions and their
Mm.
desires. 95%. How many companies have been obsessed with USP, unique selling point, and they write out a value proposition
Yeah.
for the conscious mind of the consumer,
Mm.
but the decision maker is a non conscious mind.
Wow. So you're saying essentially that all of these companies they're focusing on the wrong thing when they need to be focusing on the
I wouldn't go as
non-conscious mind.
far as to say it the brutal way you said it,
Okay.
but as an old Indian story, right? There is a man who is searching for a ring under the light, right? He's
Mm.
looking in the ground for it. So people come to him and say, what are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for the ring. I lost my ring. I'm looking for it. and say, "Oh my God, where did you lose it?" And he says, "Oh, over there where it's very dark." And they ask him, "Why the hell are you looking at it under the light?" He said, "Well, there's a lot of light here, so I had to look for it here." All right. When you look for
Yeah.
answers in the wrong places, you come
I
up with
see.
some answers. It's like asking
Yeah.
ChatGPT, "Tell me something about my mother." It will tell you
Mhm.
something about your mother. All right.
Yeah.
It may
Some
not
things
be
could
the
be
mother
right,
you
some
have.
is going to be wrong.
All right.
Exactly.
It may be nothing about your mother. But it will tell
Hmm.
you about your mother. Right. So
Hmm.
exquisite techniques to learn about the conscious mind through USPs, through focus groups, through surveys, through social media analysis. All of them are exquisite ways to analyze what the conscious minds of people are thinking and saying.
Hmm.
Bravo. However, sorry, boys and girls, most of the decisions being made are in the other place, the dark, non conscious mind. If
Hmm.
you knew how to appeal to the non conscious mind, your consumer would say, "I don't know why, but something about this appeals to me." And if you ask
Hmm.
them, "What about it?" they can't tell you, right?
Yeah,
Steve
that's very
Jobs,
true.
who
I've
I
heard
think
that.
is a master, an absolute master of understanding human desires and needs, he would say, "Don't ask your consumer what they want. They don't know what they want," right?
Hmm.
But the funny thing is this: the consumer who we glibly said does not know what they want, don't bother asking them. However, when you show them something truly awesome, they say, "Oh my God, how did you know I needed that? How
Hmm.
come you didn't know what you want or couldn't articulate it, but yet you could see it when you found it?" Right?
Hmm.
That's because the consumer's non conscious mind is saying aloud, then, "This is what I wanted." All right.
I see.
And in a way, be it if you are in the business of e-commerce and you have milliseconds to persuade a consumer, you can only appeal to the non-conscious mind, not to the conscious mind.
Hmm.
You don't have the time for that. You don't have the time. The non-conscious mind is walking into a bar, looking at 5 products by there, making its mind who it wants to walk up to. It's done.
It already
There
knows.
is no
So
interview.
if we're going to break this down to an e-commerce company, average e-commerce company, I'll give an example. Let's say we're looking at a company that sells headphones, for
Yep,
instance. They sell electronic headphones, and they're trying to come up with messaging. They're coming up with the design. They're a startup company.
yep,
What would be those elements in all of that that would appeal to someone's non-conscious mind?
absolutely.
Where do they even begin with
Yeah,
this?
it's the framework of desire, right? So we
Okay.
have a desire framework. Unilever, an extraordinary company, came to us and said, "Listen, our consumers must desire our products. All right.
Hmm.
What can we do to kind of stimulate that desire?" Right. So it begs the question, how does the brain look at desire? Right?
Hmm.
Does the brain look at desire in a particular way? So if you're a headphone maker and you say to yourself, there are 2 ways to look at it, and I'm going to share both of them with you. One of them is through memory structures, and one of them is through desire. Let's first explore memory structures, right? Now, when you design headphones, you could design it for everybody, or you could design it for
Hmm.
particular target audiences. Your
Yes.
target audiences could be gamers, your
Hmm.
target audiences could be podcasters like
Right.
ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Now you have a pair of headphones that reveal the entirety of your face without creating artifacts. I look like a robot with these big things on my head, right? Now, if I
Right.
was doing
Right.
the business of podcasting regularly, I may
Hmm.
say to myself, my God, I need to have my face clearly visible. I can't look like
Hmm.
a robot interviewing another robot, right? So,
Right.
so, so depending on your target audience, you very quickly find that what is it that is critical to them. You may say, what is critical to Alan? What is critical to Pradeep? Right?
Hmm.
And the way you look at it is not by asking Alan. You would never say, "I have a gorgeous face. I want people to enjoy my face, so headphones can't obscure it." I'm
Mm.
not going to say, listen, I kind of essentially look like a geek, but putting these headphones and a leather jacket, making me look really like a rock star. I kind of like it. I'm not going to say that. All right.
Mm.
We both are too embarrassed to admit these things about ourselves.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
focus group, we will say things like this. On the
Yeah.
other hand, memory structures are what I call things that are same for everybody. That is to say, I've never been to your home, Arlen, and you've never been to mine, but we could reasonably guess maybe it has a bedroom, maybe it has a bathroom, maybe it has a kitchen, right?
Hmm.
The
Right.
architecture of homes, expansive and contracting, are similar that way. Similar
Hmm.
architectures. Human memory is like that. There are similar architectures. There is episodic memory, there is procedural memory, there is semantic memory. And it boils down to times, occasions, locations, rituals, things that are important to us. So, what
Right.
our Gen AI algorithms do, they go through and extract for each person what are the things important to you? Places, events, rituals, people, occasions, locations, etc., etc., etc. Then you take any category, headphones or computers or shoes or whatever, and you look to
Hmm.
see in each one of those memory structures what is the role of the category in that memory structure. Does it enhance it? Does it, is there an unfulfilled need there that normally surfaces? Oh my God, if only I'm sitting in a chair right now, if or I'm
Hmm.
moving around with my headphones, and every time I move my headphone, the wire hits it. All right. So my ritual of podcasting has unnecessary noise introduced in there. So you
Hmm.
literally go through the non-conscious memory structures and look at the place, the role, a need, or a desire the category or product fulfills in there, right?
I
And you
see.
can therefore from that extract attributes of a product, features of a product, elements of a product that either enhance, fit in, blend in, accentuate that particular memory structure. You
I
collect
see. I get
all
it.
these features,
Yeah.
voila, you know what to do.
Hmm.
Everything, including metal, color, finish, texture, feature, everything.
Hey, before we jump into the next question, I want to take a quick second to talk about something that's been a game changer for so many business owners, including myself. That's public speaking. If you're running an e commerce brand, marketing agency, or any business, your ability to communicate clearly and confidently can really make all the difference. Whether you're pitching to investors, speaking at conferences, or even just creating content that connects with your audience. That's exactly why I created speaktoempower.com, a coaching program designed to help you master public speaking without fear. You can start with my free 10-day course where I walk through essential strategies to overcome nervousness, engage in the audience, and speak with confidence. And if you want to go even deeper, I offer weekly virtual group coaching sessions and one on one coaching tailored to your needs. So if you've ever felt like you could be more confident on camera, on stage, or even in day to day business conversations, head over to speaktoempower.com and get started for free today. All right, now back to the episode.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And you're tying all of these things into tapping into a memory that
Yep.
a mass of people had, and a lot of times it's
Exactly.
similar. So I
Yep.
guess an example would be for, let's say, the headphone companies these days. The big feature now with most wireless headphones
Yep.
is the noise canceling,
Of
and I
course.
think a lot of people could relate to
Yep.
using headphones for noise canceling. They have noise canceling on airplanes because there's a number of things. There's the loud, of course, plane noise from the engines, and then also, the nightmare scenario that many of us have had on long flights is sitting next to the crying baby that is crying like nonstop. And
Absolutely.
so what you're saying is for that headphone company, tapping into that, showing someone maybe before using the headphones, sitting there next to the crying baby, unable to sleep during a 10-hour flight
Yeah.
versus using the headphones that had a particular feature.
Absolutely. And now,
Okay.
quickly, you also find now, if we were to, I have a little over 90 patents, and
Okay.
I love innovation and I love innovating with Gen AI and neuroscience, right? That's my
Sure.
entire book, Neuro AI, is based on the blending of neuroscience and Gen AI. If we were to
Mhm.
build on just what you said, today, meaning you ask yourself, is one crying baby fundamentally different than another? Well, not really, right? Not
No.
really. Now imagine in our headphones, there is a general noise cancellation system, right? It
Mhm.
generally reduces ambient noise. What if you
Yes.
could basically say, I have a setting for airlines, I have a setting for crying babies, all
Hmm.
right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now we start specializing, and we can even say, what if I could introduce very specific settings in here, right? Very specific settings, so that it allows you to minimize a variety of things. And the part of the reason, and again, some, as you will see, most of the innovations come from those articulated and unarticulated needs. You could wear these headphones, and my only issue with the Apple headphones, which I love, by the way, my only
Mhm.
issue is that when I work out on a treadmill, those stupid things drop off, right?
Right. Exactly.
So you end up having to get one of these kind of things, right?
Hmm.
So very soon you find, if you go through memory structures, and you know that I'm a fitness buff, and you therefore, you for me, having my music is important, but if I am practicing and it damn thing drops off, it's a big problem for me. So people have overeared. Everything naturally follows once you understand memory structure. So that is one part of innovation. The second part
Okay.
of innovation that I said to you, driven through neuroscience, is desire. What makes you desire anything? And it's funny, there are 6 dimensions to desire, and you need to trigger all of them. So if you are
Hmm.
an e-commerce person and you're putting an ad out, and or a package out, or a promotion out, or a sentence out, I would say to you, how much of desire do you trigger when you put it? That begs the
Hmm.
question, what are they? And this is the secret of it. Is I talk about it. It's an entire chapter in my book, Neuro AI. But here's the condensed version, right? The 6 dimensions of desire, the first are driven through neurotransmitters.
Hmm.
Neurotransmitters in the brain actually are deeply involved with desire, right? And whether it's a relationship. And you will understand it. In fact, if you look at it through relationship, to the lens of relationship, because that is something people intuitively understand is connected to desire. Two
Yes.
people desire each other. That we
Hmm.
get.
Yeah.
The first one is what I call uh, dopamine is a primary neurotransmitter. And so
Hmm.
it triggers novelty and newness. There is a desire for something new and novel, right?
Hmm.
Whether it is an iPhone 16 and you're like, I can't tell the difference between the 14, the 15, and the
Yeah.
16 other than the
Exactly.
number.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So
For
then
sure.
you, and why are people disappointed? Because we look for that novelty, right?
Hmm.
We seek it, and we are disappointed if we don't find it, right?
Hmm.
So, and in a relationship, how many times people say, my God, after 7 years or 10 years, it just feels the same. It's that
Hmm.
human thirst for novelty is an important component of desire. So if you want to keep your consumer loyal to your brand, or your partner loyal to you in a relationship, make sure you never forget novelty, the element of
Novelty.
novelty or newness, right?
Yeah.
So in your
That's very key.
message in e-commerce, ask yourself, are you telling people to buy the same old thing, or are you asking them to buy it but in a new and novel way,
All right.
right?
Yeah, and that's kind of relating that back to what you talked about for Apple and the iPhones. Obviously most people know there's not much of a difference between the 14, 15, and 16. And
Right. The
it's
next dimension, yeah.
the
Go
newness
on.
is what really
It's
gets
very
people
critical.
there.
The next
Yeah.
dimension of desire is serotonin. All right.
Okay.
Serotonin is the I am satisfied, I am fulfilled neurotransmitter, right?
Hmm.
Antidepressants are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, right? And that's
Hmm.
what our new health czar wants to put away, but that's a separate story, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
so uh, the the important thing is serotonin is critical, therefore familiarity is critical. There should be some things familiar, right? So you can't just change everything
I
up
see.
because the
I
brain
see.
needs those elements of familiarity,
Hmm.
right? And it is critical in desire. In the iPhone, when somebody picks it up, they pick it up knowing, I think I know how to use it.
I got you.
That familiarity is critical, right?
Okay.
So the first one is dopamine on newness and novelty. The second one is serotonin and familiarity. The third
Hmm.
dimension is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the I trust you. Trust is critical, right?
Hmm.
Be it a relationship with a partner or be it a brand with a customer, trust. You continuously earn the trust, right? And the oxytocin dimension forms a very important part because customers look at the world and they see a changing, fleeting, moving place where nothing is trustworthy, right?
Right.
And they're finding a brand or a person giving their word, living up to it, and therefore being trustworthy becomes
Hmm.
critical. And how do you build trust? Through science or through celebrities, through spokespeople, through
Yes.
sports
Exactly.
figures.
Hmm.
You people we have learned to trust in many ways transfer their halo to the consumer via the ad or the promotion or the brand, right?
Hmm.
That is the element of trust. You see that familiar face and you trust that face, and therefore you say, I'm going to buy it, right?
I see.
That's the
I see.
oxytocin dimension. And the next one is cognitive fluency. Simply put, ease of processing. Make it simple, right? How do you make it simple? In an e commerce world, what does simplicity mean? I'll tell you what
Hmm.
it means. The rule of threes. If you say to your customer, you're done in three steps. Step one, step two, step three, you're done, boy and girl. You can go home. The product is yours.
Yeah.
Or you say, there are only three features about our product we want to share with you. Just three. You see, we have this human obsession with three: past, present, future,
Hmm.
before, during, after, yesterday, today, tomorrow, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. What
Yeah.
is this obsession with threes, right? Because
Hmm.
there are neuroscience principles say why the brain reacts positively to that. So in the e-commerce world, cognitive fluency or ease of processing connects to the rule of threes. You use that. And the last two dimensions and we are done, right?
Hmm.
The fifth one is tribalism or the sense of belonging, right? So when people say 1,500 people have bought this item today, or you say, 3 to 5,000 people listen to my podcast every month. It's a very elite crowd of e-commerce geniuses that listen to my podcast, right?
Yeah.
That sense of belonging, that I belong, is very important, right?
Hmm.
And in fact, if you look at the election and wins and everything, you would find that many times political pundits say somebody gave voice to people who felt like they were cast out of the system, right?
Yes. Exactly.
And they said that your voice is going to be heard. I may be a multi gajillionaire billionaire,
Yeah.
and you may have nothing, yet I'm going to make sure your voice is heard.
Hmm.
Now, that is a big promise. And many times that trumps almost anything else, to use the
Right.
word.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, right?
That's
But
a
that
good one.
sense of belonging is very critical, very
Right.
critical. And that makes people feel like I belong. I am no longer a faceless, forgotten person. I have been given a place at the table and my voice will be heard and amplified. That's
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. All right. And the last one is that of the Maslowian, highest layer of the Maslowian pyramid, the notion of self-esteem, right? And that's what companies do so well. They say, my God, our brand and our product saves the planet. And you're there
Mm-hmm.
sitting in a Starbucks getting your, you know, black coffee or your cappuccino, and you say to yourself, I may be little me sitting at 8 o'clock in a Starbucks with a little laptop, but I'm saving the world, dude. I'm doing
Yeah.
it. It's me,
Yeah.
little me, but it's big me. That's
Mm-hmm.
when I say man becomes Superman and woman becomes Wonder Woman, right? That
Mm-hmm.
transformation uh, once creates in you a desire to be part of it.
I
So,
see.
in the world of e commerce, through imagery, iconography, symbology, through words, and through concepts, through metaphors, when you trigger all of these to various extents, you create a desire, right? Rolex doesn't call itself a watch. Patek Philippe says, you will not be admitted to the club, right? We won't sell it to you unless we know you're worthy of giving us money,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that. You need to
Mm-hmm.
be worthy of giving me money.
Wow.
If you can create that, everything
Mhm.
is possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but that is the magic of desire. And
Mhm.
great brands create that. In the world of e commerce, anybody that puts pen to paper and creates a message or an ad or a campaign or a
Mhm.
website or anything needs to create this. When you
Yeah.
create products, you need to create desire in them, right? Desire for them. And you use the desire framework to trigger all of it, both through features and promotions and messaging. You trigger this.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. And just from everything that you've said, all of these different things that can be tapped into to kind of win over an audience or a customer base. A lot of this is resonating with just what I've seen on with a lot of the brands. What would you say would be it sounds like just from listening to all of this that most of the major brands, the big companies know all of this and they're kind of following that almost to a T. Would I be mistaken or is that
It is
not the
yes and
case?
no, right?
Okay.
Um, Many brands do this opportunistically, meaning
I see.
sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Some
Okay.
brands are unbelievable at it, right?
Hmm.
An example, meaning we all could talk about Apple as
Oh,
an
sure, for sure.
extraordinary brand that very religiously does these things right.
Yes, absolutely.
IKEA is another brand that does these things beautifully right.
Hmm.
There are brands like Dove, as an example, that do them spectacularly right. Of course, the luxury brands like Chanel and Prada and Gucci do a magnificent job.
Hmm.
BMW does a spectacular job, right? So you can go through sector by sector and find extraordinary brands that do that. Now, some of my most recent uh, efforts have been working with healthcare brands for a
Right.
simple reason, right? I don't want, I mean, not I don't want, in addition to companies selling us toothpaste and cola, right? And
Hmm.
I don't find any fault in any of that. That's all awesome. Um, wouldn't it be awesome if healthcare companies could market good habits to consumers? What
Hmm.
if we brought this extraordinary neuroscience of persuasion into a person with diabetes uh, running or exercising for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe uh, getting a little lower in their stress levels, right?
Yeah.
Maybe remembering to make the doctor's appointment, right?
Hmm.
So you look at condition by condition. And we have done this for 150 different health conditions.
Hmm.
If a healthcare company could market good living, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we brought that same focus we bring to selling uh, coffee and tea and wine and whiskey to people to sell them good habits, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be incredible? The
It would.
neuroscience of
It,
persuasion.
yes, it would be. And, unfortunately, I think it's just the fact that these healthcare companies they don't have the incentive for people to be healthy is the bottom line. They just I believe there's business in sickness. And if our system was a little bit different, and they didn't necessarily have to just thrive on the fact that people were sick and they were going to give them this cure or this potential cure by creating this formula, these pills, then I think, and if they were incentivized by the amount of people that they actually helped make healthy, then I think it would be different. I
You know,
think that's the root of
Arlen,
it.
I am a little more optimistic there, right?
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, right?
Okay.
In my time spent with healthcare companies, as you say, there's a business component to it. The business
For
component to
sure.
healthcare, that is undeniable. However, if you look at the people, so usually every healthcare company has a medical side and a business side,
Yes.
right? And the medical side, many times, is full of extraordinary physicians, right? Unbelievable doctors who literally slog day in and day out, spending 20 minutes per patient, and
For
their
sure.
heart literally breaks when they have to go to the next patient. They would have
Hmm.
preferred to have spent an hour sitting and talking through the patient, working through what their issues are, etc. But
Hmm.
their life is not like that. They have to go to the next patient, right?
Yeah.
And what I have found is um, the medical side of any healthcare business is full of people who truly care about the patient getting better. They
Hmm.
joined their vocations and their professions, worked through grueling hours as a resident with little or no pay and unbelievable stress for a single goal at the core of their hearts. They really want to make a difference in people's lives. They really
Hmm.
do, right?
Right.
And I have found in many healthcare companies, when we talk about condition management, which is good business, because if the patient doesn't get sicker, it is better for the health, for the business of
Hmm.
healthcare. And if the patient doesn't get sicker, the doctor feels that they have done something, that they have actually fulfilling the mission and their purpose.
Hmm.
So I actually believe that blending neuroscience and Gen AI in the world of healthcare creates for extraordinary wins both for the business of healthcare because you avoid serious sickness which is expensive, and at the
Right.
same
That's true.
time you enable a patient to live a healthier life, which is exactly what the physicians came to do. That was their mission in life as a young man or woman when they decided to go to medical school. It was for the money, but not the money. They really wanted to make a difference, right?
Hmm.
So, in a way, as an example, everybody wonders, how can we use Gen AI in the world of healthcare? There are many complicated things, but let me give you a simple thing that you could relate to so easily. How many times, in our life, sometimes, we had something that we had to get better, right? Maybe a hospital bed welcomed us for a week or 10 days or whatever it is,
Right.
right? Now, today, you could sit in front of Midjourney or Dali, one of these generative AI artistic programs, and say, you know, I am in a little bit of pain today. I'm an Indian man and I'm feeling a little angst ridden and I need a little hope, right? It
Hmm.
will paint for you a picture that kind of captures somebody in pain and with hope and light filtering through, etc., etc.
Right.
You would sit there and you would play with it. Oh, develop one more, add this, add that, etc., etc.
Hmm.
As an example. Or you could say, I have diabetes and I don't know, today I felt a little dark and wondered, why did this happen to me? Why me? Right? Write a poem about this for me. You'll write a little poem for you,
Hmm.
about you at this particular minute. What is funny, we always talk about art as therapy, right? Today, Gen AI offers tools that make that art as therapy accessible to every person in a hospital bed anywhere in the world
Mm.
today, right? So, and if you are in a chronic condition where there is no cure and you have to endure it for the rest of your life, and there are many chronic conditions,
Yes, for
this
sure.
art is therapy. Apple's journaling is so yesterday. No one
Mm.
sits down and says, "Dear diary." Right?
Yeah, no one
Makes
does
me
that.
want to throw up.
Exactly.
so, so art as therapy and as scribbles that a beautiful algorithm does for you that captures your journey through life is a very interesting way of artistically recording, expressing. And many times, what therapists offer is an opportunity to express yourself. Then, when you're
Mhm.
done expressing yourself, the burden seems a little lighter, right? And that's
Yeah.
what art really does. It allows you to express yourself and therefore lighten your burden. So, in a way, combining neuroscience and Gen AI provides many what I call healing journeys for people.
Hmm.
So I think there is big opportunities in the world of
Yeah.
healthcare that are
Yeah.
beneficial both for the business of healthcare and for the profession of healthcare and for patients as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting way to look at it. I've never thought about it that way. And yeah, it does give hope and definitely does show that it's not all dark and they're not all just profit driven to just try to
No, it's okay.
you
We are
know,
all capitalists and it's okay
yeah,
to be
absolutely.
profit driven.
Yeah.
Sometimes and rarely in life, we find things that are both good to do
Hmm.
from a purpose standpoint and also good to do from a business
Yeah.
standpoint.
Exactly, exactly. Well, Dr. Pradeep, this has been an awesome conversation. I've learned a ton. I can definitely probably continue to talk to you about this subject for a long time. It's really interesting, and I everything that you mentioned, those all of those points really can resonate. And I think if anyone listens back to this and then kind of looks at some of these companies that have really nailed all of these, like you said, specifically Apple, I think you can really, it's a great case study in how they use this whole neuroscience field and not that tapping into people's non-conscious mind to get them to buy their products over and over and over again. So yeah, this was a great case study. Well, lastly, before we do let you go, I'm always interested to kind of switch gears here just a little bit, just so our audience and
Sure.
listeners and viewers can get to know you a little bit better. What would you say is one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know?
Well, other than running Sensori.ai, the world's only platform blending neuroscience and AI, and writing books, I practice the Indian warrior mace, right? So
Hmm.
it's called the Gada, Gada,
Okay.
and it's the most ancient weapon,
Okay.
and it is said to confer immortality on those that practice with it. You can
Hmm.
buy it on
Interesting.
Amazon. But Gada, it is.
GADA.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called the
Interesting.
Gada, the warrior maze. So I'm a qualified teacher of the warrior maze, and
Okay. Interesting.
so I practice with it, and
Okay.
the weapon really makes a difference.
Okay, great. Well, I'll definitely check that out. That seems really interesting. I have never heard of that, but I'm definitely intrigued. Well, first, thank you again for sharing that, and again for coming on to the e-commerce marketing podcast. Lastly, before we let you go, if any of our listeners want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more about any of these subjects that we've discussed, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Best way to reach me is Pradeep at Sensori, Sensori.ai. So it's
Okay.
Pradeep at Sensori, Sensori.ai. I'm also on LinkedIn. You could shoot me a note.
Okay, awesome. We'll be sure to have those links in the show notes so people can reach out to you. And once again, Dr. Pradeep, it's been a great conversation. We really appreciate having you on the E-commerce Marketing Podcast.
My pleasure, Arlen. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.